Kimberly made it so easy. We spent the day together. At the end of the day, I said to him, if you were me and you wanted to help people and families around health and wellness, what would you do? And he said, Mark, you're not a doctor, so there's only so much you can do. He said, but one of the things that I think you should think about is nutrition, nutritional supplementation. And he said, and this is why. He said, in my position at WebMD, I see all the latest research. And he said, I'm telling you that we as a people are so deficient with micronutrients. If you saw the statistics, it would blow your mind. Now, I need to tell you, you probably already know this, there's this thing called the recommended dietary allowance. Have you ever heard of that? And he said, go look at the recommended dietary allowance statistics. And he said, and what you'll find is in most cases now, we don't get 50% of what the recommended dietary allowance is for minerals and vitamins and amino acids in our diet. And he said, and so for that reason, people today must supplement their nutrition. He said, when I was in medical school, we had this raging debate that went on and on, whether you should supplement or not. And he said, but today, now I need to tell you that this meeting with Dr. Kimberly took place in 2012. He said, today, 2012, there should be no question in anybody's mind about whether you should supplement or not. Today, the question is, what do you take and who do you trust to buy them from? That's the question, not whether you should take them or not. And he said, so you could make a difference around nutritional supplementation if that's what you decided to do. Then he asked me a very interesting question. He said, to prove my point, he said, what have you eaten in the last 24 hours? Now I want you to think, what have you eaten in the last 24 hours? And I said to him, well, okay, it's about a 6-hour drive from Seattle where I was living down here to Eugene, Oregon. I left really early, this little town I live in Washington, just outside of Seattle. And he said, and I told him when I left town, I drove through the McDonald's and I got a sausage McMuffin with egg and a Coke. And I said, and then when I got to Portland, which is about 4 hours from Seattle, I was hungry. I pulled off the freeway. I drove through Burger King and I got a Whopper and a Coke. And now I'm here with you. And he started laughing and he said, well, that's what I'm talking about. He said, if you examine what you've eaten a lot of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, almost zero micronutrients, minerals, vitamins, and amino acids. And he said, but that's not unusual. We live these crazy, busy, hectic lives. And that's just how it goes. We eat a lot of processed food. And for that reason, we need to supplement. Okay, then he went on to say, in his opinion, the supplement world is shallow and unimaginative. And he said, you can make a difference, but only if you do it differently than everyone else. He said, if you're going to do it like everyone else, don't even bother. Don't even get started. But if you'll commit to do it differently than everyone else, Mark, you can make a difference. This is a picture of the men's and women's Vitalize. Anyone familiar with this product of ours? This was the conversation with him around this product that convinced him to work with me. So as we talked, he said, okay, let's assume we start a company or you start a company and we go down this road of nutritional supplementation. He said, I've had a formula that I've worked on for a long time. I've had it for a long time. It's actually a great formula. It's designed for men and women. It's an herbal formula and it's targeted for women and their hormonal needs and men and their needs. And he said, I've had many companies come to me and want to buy this formula. And he said, but here's the rub. The rub is that it's 5 capsules per day. And he said, so when these people came and wanted to buy this formula from me, they would say, okay, if we're going to do this, you need to know that as a company, we can't market this product if it requires people to take 5 capsules per day. So you have to help us get it down to 1 capsule per day. And when they said that, Dr. Kimberly was convinced he would never sell them the formula. And the reason why is because Dr. Kimberly's, one of his pet peeves is this thing called effective dose. Have you ever heard that? Effective dose means there has to be enough of the active ingredients in the capsule to actually do something. Does that surprise anybody? And he knew that if they reduce this down to 1 capsule per day, even though it would have all the herbs that were in the formula in the capsule, there would not be enough of any of the herbs in the capsule to do anyone for anyone, or to do anything for anyone. And so Dr. Kimberly wasn't going to be a part of that, so he wouldn't sell him the formula. So Dr. Kimberly looks at me and he says, okay, Mark, is this a product you think you would like to have in this hypothetical company? And I said, well, yeah, I think so. And he said, okay, now I'm going to ask you. It's 5 capsules per day. So what do you have to say about that? And I looked at him kind of weird and I said, you're the doctor. I'm the football guy that's been hit in the head a few times too many times. If you say it's 5 capsules per day, then it's 5 capsules per day, and we'll figure out how to market the product. And that is what convinced Dr. Kimberly to work with Mark Wilson and to get started on this journey. This is a good friend of mine, Jimmy Cossert. We're up in Seattle. We're in my office in Bellevue. There's a bunch of pills on this table. We decided that we were going to have a meeting and invite people into Salt Lake City and give them some samples of this product that we had kind of put together. It wasn't an opportunity meeting like you're thinking. It was just to give them some samples and let them try it and get some feedback to see if we were on the right track. That's all this was intended to be. And in that process, Dr. Kimberly sent us the boxes. You can see some boxes there. They're full of capsules. They're not in bottles. And Jimmy and I were scrambling because we were hurrying to get ready for this meeting. And we were putting them in. You can't see the bottles on that table, but they were small little bottles. They were nondescript. They were white. And we were not so hygienic. We were taking capsules with our hands and putting them in these bottles. We would put like 25 capsules in the bottle, and we were going fast to try and get this done. And in walks, this is a picture of my oldest son and my wife, Colleen. My oldest son's an attorney. And he walks in, his name's Travis, and he walks in and he says, so today is the day you want to go to jail. And Jimmy and I looked at him and said, what are you talking about? And he said, you cannot give people a bottle with pills in it that doesn't tell them what the pills are. If you do, you are going to jail. So Jimmy and I looked at each other. We scrambled. We brought in a printer. We ran to the Home Depot or whatever it's called, and we bought some inkjet labels, and we scrambled and put a label on this bottle. And I think all the label said is, this stuff won't kill you. It'll be okay. It's just minerals and vitamins. And we handed those out at this meeting. We had 37 people at the meeting. We gave them these bottles of stuff that wasn't going to kill them, and we sent them home. And what happened surprised us. I don't know what we were thinking, but we didn't expect what happened, because about 5 days after the meeting, we started getting phone calls from these people saying, I've been taking stuff since I was a kid. My mom would give us multivitamins. I never felt a difference. I took them because she wanted me to. I've taken them in my adult life. I've never felt a difference taking them. I've never felt a difference if I stopped taking them, but I've always taken them because I thought it would do something for me. But I have to tell you that I feel a difference taking this formula in a way I've never felt before. So tell me, can I buy this product from you? And we thought, we didn't really expect that. I don't know what we expected, but we didn't expect that. So we scrambled. And by January 1st of that year, 2013, we started shipping this product. Now, I should also tell you that we also decided in the interim that we were going to do this as the distribution. The way we're going to distribute the product was through direct sales. So we were going to form a direct sales company. And let me tell you how that happened. So we were sitting around a boardroom, around a table, and we were talking about this product and how we're going to market it and how we were going to distribute it and getting it out to paying customers. And this friend of mine, Jimmy Cossert, said, well, you know what? One of the things that you talked about that could benefit families was helping financially. And he said, I made a lot of money in direct sales in a former life of mine. Jimmy made about $30 million as a distributor, believe it or not. And he said, why wouldn't you put this in the direct sales industry? It is a perfect product. You wanted to help people and families, and this is another way you can do it. And that's what we decided to do. But in January of 2013, when we started shipping this product, we did not have the comp plan finished. It's kind of hard to be a direct sales company if you do not have a comp plan that's done that tells people what you're going to pay them if they distribute your product. And so we told everybody, listen, we promise we're going to pay you. We're keeping track of everything on an Excel spreadsheet. When we get this comp plan done and programmed, I promise we will pay you. And people said, we don't care. We just want the product. And that is literally how Q Sciences got started in January of 2013. This was our first office. We were in the right-hand corner there. We sublet some space. Kind of a funny story. We sublet this space from a company called Combea. And we would have people come in and they would to meet with us, and they would come in the lobby. There was a directory. But in that directory, it never said Q Sciences and our suite number. And the reason why is because this office building for sublet tenants wouldn't let us be on the directory. Combea was on the directory, but not Q Sciences. But fortunately for us, there was a conference room that looked out into the lobby. And we did a lot of work in the early days in that conference room. And we sat there, and if anyone came to visit us, we would keep looking out that window into the lobby to see if somebody was out there looking lost, because if they were, we knew they were looking for us. And we would go out and grab them, and we would bring them into the office. And they would come in and they would see the Combea sign. And they would look at us and they would say, I thought you were Q Sciences. What is this Combea thing? And we would say, it means Q Sciences in Korean. This was our next office. We graduated to this office. This office is kind of historical because in this office, I met Jake and Sarah Spencer. In this office, I met Brandon and Judy Stevens. In this office, I met Frank and Marielle Filipponi, and so many others we first met in this office. This is our office today. If you haven't been there, you're invited to come anytime. We'd love to have you. In 2017, another kind of pivotal moment in the history of this company, I met this couple, Sarah and Jake Spencer. I hired Jake as a consultant. We had kind of stalled, and I was trying to figure out how to get this going again. And I had hired other consultants. It wasn't a great experience. Someone recommended Jake, and we thought, okay, we'll hire Jake and see if he's got some ideas. What happened was, for the first 2 weeks, Jake didn't really say anything. Jake took a lot of notes, was in every meeting, didn't say much of anything. I have to tell you that I was starting to wonder. I thought, you know, I'm paying him kind of a lot of money. I hope he's going to say something sometime, at some point. He finally did. I came into the office. He said, okay, I've been in all these meetings. I have a sense of what you want to do, where you want to take this company. I have a sense of what you can do and how you can do it. And he took me into the conference room. We had a big whiteboard. And he started writing up things on this whiteboard that he thought that we needed to think about changing if we were going to become this company that he believed I wanted it to be. I have to tell you, it was a daunting list. There were no simple, easy things on that list. Essentially, it was redo everything on the business side of the business. The only thing that he loved was the product line. He didn't love the packaging. He wanted all that changed too. All the branding changed, and for good reason. I remember going home that night. I had written down on a piece of paper all the things he had written on the whiteboard. And I remember looking at that list during the day, and then when I went home at night, looking at that list again at night, thinking, wow, you know, this is crazy. What we have here at Q Sciences at the moment is not great, but I would put it in the good category. But if we go down this road and make these changes, there's no turning back. we're going to risk what we have to move forward. And if this doesn't work, we're going to be in trouble, because we can't go down this road and in a month decide it didn't work and go back to everyone and say, gee, sorry, we're going to go back to how things were. So it was a pivotal moment, and it was a frightening moment, because the truth was we were risking something good to become something great. The thing was, I knew, the more I thought about it, I knew in my heart, I knew in my gut that Jake was right. I also knew that good was never going to be good enough. No matter how good it was never going to be good enough. It was never going to be good enough for me, and I knew that it would never be good enough for you. And so we made the decision to go down the road and make all the changes. And wow, what a decision that was. Shortly after that, Jake invited this gentleman into our office. This is Brandon Stevens. Brandon flew in from Texas. Brandon was being kind. Brandon's a very kind guy, so that shouldn't surprise anybody. Brandon, as a favor to Jake, came in, didn't bring anything with him because he only expected to be there for about 2 or 3 hours, turn around and get on the flight and go back home. His intention was to listen politely because Jake was a friend, tell Jake no, thank you very much, go back home to Judy and the family. And instead, Brandon ended up staying a week with us. I have to tell you that I don't know what we said. I think back to this all the time. And I don't know what we said, because we had this vision, but we had no proof and we had no evidence that it was going to work. And for some reason, Brandon believed in us. And Brandon stayed. And then Brandon invited this couple to come and see us. And the same thing, I think about this all the time. I don't know what Jake and I said, because we had no evidence that this big vision we had was going to actually work. But for some reason, Frank and Marielle believed us. They trusted us, and they came to Q Sciences, and the rest, as they say, is history. Because what a moment that was, to have Brandon and Judy come, and have Frank and Marielle come. And I think it's probably fair to say that there's nobody in this room that cannot trace their genealogy now back up to Frank and Marielle and to Brandon and Judy. And I will be forever grateful to Brandon and Judy and for Frank and Marielle for trusting us. Thank you so much. The other pivotal moment in the company's history was in 2018. We decided we were going to launch a full spectrum line of products. And wow, was that amazing. We had a convention in Phoenix. I'll never forget this. It was around September, and we were going to launch this product. And we had the recognition portion of the convention on Friday. And so we'd recognized all this rank advancements and all that stuff, and that was kind of behind us. But then we launched this product on Friday, and within 12 hours, Frank and Marielle jumped two ranks, and we didn't have any trophies, we didn't have any flowers, and we decided to bring them up and recognize them, and we did makeshift stuff because we had nothing to give them, because we didn't expect that in 12 hours they would go from, what was the rank, do you remember? I mean, it was crazy what happened in 12 hours, and it was because of this product. What's that? They went from ruby to diamond in 12 hours. Because of the launch of this product. Now, of course, this is what our product line looks like. We've changed the entire branding. It was brilliant. Roy Clark's responsible for the creative design of everything you see here. Thank you, Roy. And responsible for this, the branding on the product line. This is why we needed to change the branding, because the branding really was reflective of my age group and demographic, which was the wrong demographic. We needed to get the demographic younger. And so Roy went to work, and we're really proud of the work he's done. Okay, since 2018, this is what we've experienced in Q Sciences. We've grown from a monthly revenue standpoint by 1,200%. This group of 37 now numbers about 130,000 around the world in 25 countries. Recently, we were named the top 3 fastest direct sales growing company in the world. And it's always fun to talk about where we've come from, but I think it's more fun to talk about where we're going. So here's where we're going. I honestly believe that within 5 years, we'll be in 50 countries, which is double where we are today. And I honestly believe in 5 years, we'll be a $1 billion company, which will mean that Q Sciences will become a household name around the world. That's where we're headed. I said this yesterday in the Bronze Academy, and that is that right now, Q Sciences is on the verge of doing some absolutely remarkable things. I think some of you know that we're in the process right now of registering, setting up warehouses, become fully on the ground in 5 areas of the world. And we hope that here in the next 2 to 3 to 4 months, we're done. This has been a very difficult process. We've been at this for a while. COVID's made it even more difficult, but those 5 countries are Mexico City, Mexico, Sydney, Australia. These are the locations of the warehouses in these countries. Tokyo, Japan, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and there's one more. It's Amsterdam, the Netherlands, in the EU. And when that's done, that'll set the framework and the groundwork for what will become some explosive growth that will happen in those parts of the world. And it's coming fast. And so I want to let you know it's coming fast so that you can get to work. I will also tell you this, that I honestly believe this, that given where the company is today and what you're going to see happen in the next 2 to 3 years, 2 to 5 years, and I think this window of opportunity for this phenomenal growth at Q Sciences that we anticipate will happen for the next 5 to 7 years. And because of that, I can tell you that I honestly believe that this may be the best opportunity that you will ever see again in your lifetime. In your lifetime. And so if there was ever a time to jump in and run hard, I want to tell you, now is the time. Now is the time. Okay. This is a picture of Steve Jobs when he was a little younger and had hair. And next to him is a man named John Sculley. Now this picture was taken in the 1980s. They had a meeting, these two. Steve Jobs at the time was the CEO of Apple. And John Sculley at the time was the CEO of Pepsi. And Steve Jobs was trying to hire John Sculley to come in and be the CEO of Apple and run Apple. And he wasn't getting very far with John Sculley in trying to convince him to come to this new kind of startup company called Apple. And so they met in New York City in 1983, I believe. Again, in the morning, he wasn't having much luck with John Sculley convincing him to come to Apple. They took a break. They went out on a balcony and looked out over Central Park. And this is what Steve Jobs said to John Sculley. Do you want to sell sugar water the rest of your life? Or do you want to come with me and change the world? And that caught John Sculley by surprise. And John Sculley essentially said, you know what? You're right. I'm just selling sugar water. And John Sculley left Pepsi and took the job as the CEO of Apple. Now, why do I bring up this story? Because I really think this is the invitation that we give to all people to come and join us at Q Sciences. We are not selling sugar water. I think you know that. We have a phenomenal product line that actually really does work. And I hope you felt the benefits of that for you and your family. This opportunity is also not sugar water. This is going to be a phenomenal opportunity. It is a phenomenal opportunity, and it's only going to get better in the next 5 to 7 years. I honestly believe that we can also, as a company, change the world. And we can do it by making a difference for one person and one family at a time. This is a beautiful lady, Betsy Collard. She's on our advisory council. Betsy at one point said, when people ask me what Q Science is about, this is what I tell them. It's about serving each other. It's about loving each other. And it's about helping each other win. There is not a better way to sum up what Q Science is about than what Betsy Collard said. It is about serving each other. It is about loving each other. And it is about helping each other win. Now, when we first got started, we were focused about helping families and people win around their nutrition. And what we've realized is that we can do so much more. We can help each other win in all areas of life, and we've attempted to articulate what those areas of life are, and we've termed it the 5 F's. And those 5 F's are faith, family, finance, friends, and fitness. So it's no longer just about supplementing your nutrition. It's all about supplementing your life. Life's journey is not to arrive at the grave safely with a well-preserved body, but rather to skid in sideways, totally worn out, shouting, "Holy cow! What a ride!" Let's wear ourselves out, making a difference. And this ride is just getting started. Before I step off the stage, we're going to play this little video because we're introducing this new motto to Q Sciences.